This is college football at its absolute best.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back to Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Sunday, September 10th. We're 2-0, I guess. Here's the thing: we've put it behind us. We're not going to talk about it. It's not true. We got to talk about it, but I wish we didn't have to. Just a snooze fest. Not a great game, and I can't even you can kind of pinpoint what it was, but like there's just so many things that went against Tennessee in this one. So we're going to talk about that, obviously discuss Florida because that's on our mind. That's what we're excited about, going to the swamp. So we're going to talk about that, talk about some guys who impressed us. If y'all have any questions, drop those in the chat. Also go check out our great sponsors, Underdog Collectibles, the Volunteer Club, Rowback. I am going to tell you about our good friends at Underdog Collectibles. Underdog Collectibles is Knoxville's best sports collectible store with a wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autograph helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT grads and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events throughout the year. Stop by. They're right off Western Avenue next to Club 4. Open 6 days a week with live YouTube shows, 3 nights per week. Remember, always bet on the underdog. Guys, go check them out. They were at Dick's with us on Friday. We got to host an event, or got to be a vendor at an event at Dick's. Had a great time. Got to meet a lot of people. Also got to interview some baseball players, and we'll have that interview later on. But let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. Let's talk about Austin Peay, get it over with, and put it behind us for good. I did not rewatch it. I didn't want to put myself through it, so I didn't. I'm a little hoarse today, and I think part of it was yelling at just missed plays by the offense. And that's what it boils down to. It was just – I mean, Joe was not great, and I think he'd be the first one to tell you that, but your receivers got to help you out a little bit, and they did not. At all. I think Jabari Small drops a screen pass. He's probably still running. Dante Thornton had a long pass down the sideline coming back to the football that he just dropped. Brew McCoy had a chance to make a play. I know it wasn't perfect, but still should have caught it. I think Squirrel had a drop as well. So just guys gotta if you see it, if it hits you in the hands, catch the football. You get new gloves. I kept saying that yesterday. It's like you get new gloves every single week. How are you not able to catch football that hits you right in the hands? I don't understand.
Yeah, it probably had to be the sneakiest 450-plus total offense yard game ever. Just felt like constantly digging into something that we weren't able to get a hold of. Starting the first couple, drops that, again, I got to rewatch the extended highlights today. I don't think I plan on watching the full game. I don't know if I can put myself through that. I think I saw enough, but it is hard from last night to tell like how accurate those ball, like how much on which side of the ball it was. I think it went both ways. I think Joe, you're right, would be the first to tell you that they weren't the best passes, but I think also the receivers, I think it went, maybe 50-50. It was kind of hard to judge, but for how much hype we had for Joe and the receivers, like not worrying about having to, fill the shoes of, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman and stuff. It was for the past 2 games now, I've not been blown away by the offensive production on the passing side of the ball. So
Yeah, and it's – I mean, you're not going to win a ton of games in the SEC throwing it behind the line of scrimmage. That's just not going to happen. Tennessee won games last year because of the vertical passing threat. But Tennessee it's been non-existent. I mean, they can't complete a pass down the field for whatever reason, drops, overthrows, underthrows, whatever it is. Blocking hasn't been fantastic either. I just don't know. It just seems like the offense, more specifically the passing game, is just not on the same page. I don't know how you fix it. That was the one thing going into this season where everybody was like, oh, we got this. If Joe can just be okay and if the defense can be better, what's the line going to be? Are we going to be able to run the football? Like, it wasn't really about the receivers and Joe Milton going into the season. It was everything else. But everything
Right.
else has kind of been in place so far this season. And I know it's Virginia and Austin Peay, but still, you want to win those ball games, and you didn't really get a lot of young guys in on the offensive side because it was a ball game in the fourth quarter.
yeah, I mean, I felt like I kept finding myself during the game just like you're right, go vertical, like get downfield. Like we have speedy receivers that can just. I don't think there was a pass deeper than 25 yards maybe, and maybe a handful and random occasion.
And McCall and Castles was the longest one. Is 43 yards, but it was a screen pass.
I'm gonna say most of that was yards after. I mean, that was
Yeah.
if not more than 45 yards after the catch. So I mean, obviously Tennessee kind of adapted and went to some bubble screens and some behind the line scrimmage passes. And
it just seemed like
to an extent,
the
but it's-
offense was just like, well, they've seen enough. Joe was 1 for 7. They're like, okay, we're done throwing it past the line of scrimmage. Let's just dink and
Yeah.
dunk and let's get out of here with a win. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, and I would assume that the game plan is going to be different going into Florida next week. Like I don't think a lot of people are really quickly worried that kind of offense and that kind of play won't work against a Florida team. I don't think you have that same method of approach for Florida, but looking directly at the connection issues between Milton and the receivers, it is a little worrisome. I don't feel as comfortable as I did after seeing Florida versus Utah. I felt decent, and then after these past 2 offensive showings, it's kind of like I don't know. I think the run game's not going to have any issue against Florida. I mean, that was the one thing last night that looked really solid. That run game's been really consistent. We had 228 yards of rushing. I think it's same as passing. So that is a positive to take out of it from the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, rushing looks good, fine. But man, like you got to be able to throw the football, and you put yourself in a hole on third down with, when you do these screen passes and you're getting these pass interferences moving you back, but you don't have any vertical passing game to move the chains after that. So you have to hit on a long run. A screen has to work out perfectly for you to get to that point, and then we can't convert on third down. What were we, 3 for 12? I mean, third down has been an issue. Penalties have been an issue. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's the lack of just opening up the playbook, and maybe there was just a list of things like the rain delay or the weather delay and, not running through the tee, the kind of build up to the game just wasn't there. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was head scratching.
Maybe that is all it was. I didn't miss this, right? We didn't do the national anthem, correct? Because the flyover came after like the second half, like halftime or whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there was nothing.
So we'll go ahead and we'll try to use as much of that as we can towards the reasoning. It started slow, and I just thought we saw this against Virginia. First quarter, getting the grip, kind of feeling the energy, feeling the system. So I'm expecting the second quarter. I'm like, okay, well, we'll get going here. And even if not, second half, and we just never caught that burst. We caught a little burst at some point in the third quarter where you kind of like get a touchdown and then a defensive stop. And it's like, oh, finally. But even then, it's like, not that no one ever called me out for Tennessee fan, but I was hoping we'd be up by a good amount by like halftime that I could go home and watch the Alabama-Texas game. And I had to stay till the last second of that football game just because it didn't feel right to leave when you're only up, 13 on Austin Peay. So really frustrating to.
Yeah, we were a goal line stand away from being a 10-point ball game with Austin P.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not great. Again, a lot of factors probably went into that. It was a weird game. Time was weird. It is, right before Florida. I'm sure there was some looking ahead to that, but it's over. At the end of the day, I guess you did win. My thing is, if it ever comes to that point again where you're not able to run through the tee, if I'm Josh Heupel, I'm pulling every single band member out of the stands and be like, yo, you don't have to go back into the stands, but you will make the tee for us to run through.
Yeah. Just stay stationary during the delay. Like drop your tubas, put them underneath you or something.
Yeah,
but
stay in the tee. Just make the tee. Yeah.
Yeah. Or just move into the locker room, but like stay in the tee. Like just come in the tunnel and we'll let you out again. You can do it with the team.
Because somebody told me this. I don't know if it's true. I did not fact check, but they said the last time they remember us not running through the tee was Air Force, and we almost lost that game too.
Okay, so
that
sounds to me
seems like a curse. yeah. So that's what we're
cool.
banking
So
on.
we can avoid everything.
Yeah. Another thing that was pretty horrible, other than that, was officiating. If I have that bad of a day at work, I feel like I'm not going to be able to work the next day. Like my job is no longer there. I'm fired.
Yeah. It was frustrating. It was like
I'll be trying to get in the door and I'll scan my badge and it won't let me in.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, that was horrible.
Yeah. I that's the one thing I do want to go watch the full game on, because when you watch the extended highlights, you're not getting like all the awful calls, or at least the views. It's, cut up and stuff. From the stands, like even on the board, look, in the student section, you get a lot of people that don't know football that overreact. And so usually I'm like very like, hey, dumbass. Like, fans get very aggressive and want to call pass interference when there's just simply good defense played. Probably for the first time ever, a minimal amount of that happened last night, where I was like, no, you guys are actually probably correct. Like there's a lot of, on both sides of the ball, just not any consistency on calls.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's Tennessee Austin P. It would have gotten a lot more attention on Twitter and nationally if this was Texas Bama, but SEC, like it's an SEC football game. Like there's not an excuse to have calls that are just that blatantly like reviewed, not even missed live, but then reviewed and seen, and then still not even winced at. So I don't understand that.
Yeah, I doubt they're an SEC crew, but if they had any aspirations of being an SEC crew, they lost it because that was horrendous. I mean, the fumble number one was unreal. I mean, the guy takes 3 steps, we rip it out. I mean, that's how
I want to, like, because that's such a thing that you can literally say, hey, the rule book says, 3 steps, football move. Like, there is a list of things that qualify advancing the ball as a runner and then losing the ball, and that's a fumble. And then to go back and look at that and not see clearly the catch the pass, take like 3.5 steps and like totally change momentum, and the ball is fully locked in here, and then to lose it, I don't understand that at all. Because that was not one ref's fault. It's a team of people now that are rewatching that video, and I haven't heard any reasoning for it or anything. I don't think we're going to. But
how are you able to tuck it away and turn up field?
Yeah,
and it be called an incomplete? Dude.
And then am I not wrong? I mean, again, everything was. I had bigger worries last night after one of those calls. I was frustrated in general, but did we not have a play that should have been one and maybe like got like the same thing happened, or maybe it was a DPI or something? But it was something where it was like literally the exact same situation, but they didn't call it for us or for them or vice versa.
I want to know if he goes down on one knee, like when Kamal Hadden comes over, he comes down on one knee before Hadden rips the ball out. That's a completed pass. That's a first down for them.
Right.
100%. So
yeah, you wouldn't say that's not. It didn't have possession.
Yeah, it should have been a fumble. So yeah, the Squirrel White one in the end zone was horrible. I think one of the pass interference ones was very questionable as well. And then the Omar Norman Lott one was. It's like, what? I don't know. what are we doing? And then you have Austin Peay's coach who thinks he's a
Oh.
freaking SEC basketball coach. The team starts moving the ball. He just uses all of his timeouts.
Well, and I mean, I don't like for how soft refs are for that ref to be literally for the coach to come all the way down and then be chewing him out in his right ear for 45 seconds straight and be getting pulled back by his coaches and then still going back. And like the only thing the ref does is give him one of those. Like that ref was, I don't know, maybe he was just being an animated, very nice person and saying nice things, but I'm going to take a wild guess that it was not nice things being saying to that ref. Not a peep, no nothing. Like he was,
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they have coaches trying to pump up the crowd. Buddy, you're in an away game.
Yeah.
Like what crowd who are you pumping up? The stadium is orange.
They were definitely pissing me off on the sidelines trying to get really like there's a time and a place for it. Like I get it. Like I couldn't say if I was a player on Austin Peay, I wouldn't have that same feeling of like we're holding you pretty well and like we're doing our own. But like, okay, say South Carolina comes in here and they are in a position where it's like we're an SEC team, like we're good, like we can kind of do the turnaround, like try to fake pump up the fans or like flip off the student section and stuff. But like you're Austin Peay, bro. I don't care if you're holding us to 18 or 17 points at the time. Like, dude, don't do that. Like, know your place. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, after the game, he was like, yeah, I want SEC teams to think twice about scheduling us. And I'm like, I mean, it's not because, like, you're good. It's because you're a jackass is the reason why people don't want to freaking schedule you. So,
yeah.
Whatever. I mean, go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to jump into the defensive side of the ball. Two things.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll go to the first. Like, I don't know if we just got stumped on their what would be the correct terminology for them basically not ever running a designed like play, like just spreading out the last second. Like it's not audible because I mean it was designed, but I mean probably 65% of the plays were change formation last second, trying to scramble.
Yeah, they went empty and had all the receivers on one side of the ball.
It just felt like they were really trying to just get creative, which I mean props to them. I don't know if maybe that did kind of work because they took advantage of some gaps in our secondary again, which I thought after
tried a double pass twice. It's like
yeah. And the second point with that is I feel like I'm in a quantum realm, like a super state of either loving Kamal Haddon or absolutely hating him, which is all that happened last night. Just because I was getting so frustrated by the lack of basic coverage, but then makes a god tier play, and so very back and forth.
Here's my take on Kamal Haddon. If you take last year out of it, guy had a good game. Besides the pass interference, the guy had a good game. Now teams are going to keep picking on him because he does have a tendency of, not looking at the ball and getting a pass interference, which I thought that was the most ticky-tack pass interference I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I understand like you need to look back at the ball, but if you don't even make contact with the receiver, how in the world can you call a flag?
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree.
But he's the one that ripped the ball out that should have been a fumble, and he got that pick. I thought he had a nice game. He did well in some of the screens that they had. He blew some of those up. So I thought he played. He's one of my guys that impressed me, and I know that's probably a hot take for somebody because of what happened last season. But
yeah, I know what you're saying, but I don't think it is just because, like, you're right. That was my point. That it's like, I mean, I get frustrated with him in certain instances, but then he makes plays that totally make up for it. And if you could just eliminate the other side of it, which obviously, I mean, that could be applied to anybody, but it just seems like more dumb mistakes that are way easily correctable for the level of play that you have when you're playing really well.
Yeah. Yeah, my thing, like, you got to look back at the ball. You can't, especially last night, you can't put it in an official's hands to say whether or not that you did it.
Yeah.
Leave no doubt. So, yeah, that's my one thing for Kamal Haddon is just look back at the ball because, I mean, teams are going to pick on you because of that.
Right. It is that simple.
They'll back shoulder some balls knowing that you're right there and you're just going to run into the receiver, and that's a penalty, even though it wasn't when Squirrel White did it, but whatever. But, yeah, the defensive line, 7 sacks. I mean, We have 11 sacks so far this season. 11.
Yeah.
I think the next close in the SEC is Arkansas with 9, and Tyler Barron and James Pierce have 3 apiece. So that's 6, and Beasley had 2 last night. So that's 8 of your 11 with 3 guys.
Yeah.
I mean
Beasley
that
had 6
defensive line
tackles.
is freaky, and that's why I think I don't want to get too far into Florida, but they do have kind of a 3-headed monster at running back. They got 3 good running backs. ETN, Johnson, and Webb. But Tennessee's not giving up anything running the football. But that's the only thing Florida can really do. They don't really have a passing game either. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. But man, I am loving the defensive front and the way Aaron Beasley is playing. I mean, Aaron Beasley is the best player on this football team.
Yeah. Dude, he had
I mean, please somebody argue with me with that, because I would love to prove him wrong, because there's no way. He's the best player on this football team right now.
I swear it could have been maybe it was a little later in the game than I thought, but I remember looking up and just around the rim of the thing they had, I think he had 7 tackles at the time. I was like, what? I didn't even understand. And I don't remember who was second, but I remember seeing it. I was like, he has literally 6 or 7 tackles, and it's maybe a couple minutes into the third quarter or halfway through the third quarter. But I was super impressed, just because obviously it looked like he was playing well, but just to notice that, I was like, damn, he's really all over the ball and all over the field. He's consistent. And I will say, if we were allotted one thing in the game last night, if there's one positive out of maybe the close game, is we got more hype moments in Neyland Stadium than I was thinking. When things got chippy, Josh Heupel really wanted to get the crowd going. He started hyping up his players, hyping up the crowd, stuff like that. That got Neyland Stadium going. And I wish it was under different circumstances, but there were some moments that the crowd was getting really into it and stayed, I would bet at the end of the game there was probably, 50,000, 60, 50, 60?
Okay, yeah. I like the spin zone. We were just trying to get more concession sales.
That's probably all it is. Josh Heupel, look, Danny White and Josh Heupel are like this. I mean, I think they know what they're doing. I'm big trust.
But yeah, Aaron Beasley, 5 tackles for loss. I mean, he's all over the field. The way he blitzes, his timing with his blitzes are perfect. Just his instincts. I mean, like you said, he sideline to sideline, flies all over the field. 6 is always around the football. Anytime that you see a tackle made, 6 is around. He's somewhere in the vicinity. So I'm just really liking Aaron Beasley. Keenan Peely, I just think that might turn into a huge loss for Tennessee. I hate to say that, but
yeah,
nothing against Elijah Herring, Aaron Carter, Jeremiah Telander. I thought played well at the end of that football game. Didn't play that much and had 6 tackles. But I do think that's a big loss for this Tennessee team, is Keenan Peely, with his leadership, just his veteran presence, on the field. I just think that's going to be a big loss come SEC play, where, Elijah Herring, he played some last year, but it was kind of off the edge, and, third down packages, being an every down linebacker is a lot different. And I don't know. I guess we'll see if he can turn into something, but I do think not having Keenan Peely definitely kind of hurts his defense a little bit.
Yeah, I think Florida will be the true first test for that, just with, taking a different approach and moving people around to what has to work best, because obviously the last 2 games you had a little bit of breathing room, maybe not as much last night as you're hoping for, but yeah. Well, I'm curious to see the real effect that has going for the next couple of games. I know that it sounds like it's not going to be a season-long injury, but we don't have a good enough time frame as to, are we looking at the end of November, or maybe for the Georgia game? I don't know. I don't know if there's been anything new in the past couple of days. I didn't hear much about it last week, but as far as I know, Heupel said it's going to be a multi-week thing, and hoping it's not a season-ending injury. But still, in that time being, that's the bulk of your schedule. I mean, obviously, if he's able to be back for Georgia,
or a nice playoff run, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, but we have to, maybe get there first. So we'll see.
But yeah, I really like this defensive front. I mean, last night besides their 45-yard run on that 4th and 1, if you take that away, Tennessee gave up 34 rushing yards.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
I mean,
it was consistent.
It is Austin P, but when Rodney Garner said, we have a championship defensive front, guy ain't lying.
I agree. Is there and that's 2 weeks in a row. Is there a chance? I mean, I'm spin zoning. Is there a chance Austin P's like not as bad in some areas that we thought they would be? So like we can just maybe hope there's a little bit of shock factor there that they were able to exploit some areas of the ball. Maybe, I don't know, but
well, I think I mean, we can kind of move on from this a little bit. I'm kind of it was hard to watch, honestly, but I do think you're not going into Florida like a huge favorite. Like I think it's 4 right now, or what it came out as, like 4. You're not a double-digit favorite. I don't think anybody's thinking you're going to go in there and just destroy them, maybe like you were like beginning of the season. So I think that can maybe help Tennessee a little bit, just not being just a huge favorite on the road. I think this, comes down probably a better football game, or it should, than what we expected. And yeah, maybe I'd love to blow them out in the swamp, but I just don't know if that's super realistic knowing the history there. So maybe that is a good thing where Tennessee isn't, going into it a huge favorite, and we'll see kind of what that does for confidence and, maybe just not coming out flat. I think that's another thing is like I think it showed in this Austin P. If Tennessee starts fast, it just sets the tone for what the rest of the game is going to be like.
Yeah. So on FanDuel right now they're -7.5. So
okay.
I mean, and I don't know what it would have been. I mean, so I guess after week 1, after we play Virginia, they play Utah. I don't know, or I guess was Florida a week 0 game, or were they the first week 1?
Yeah, they were against Utah.
Regardless, that time, that early on in the season, I don't know what that line would have been, and I don't know how much the gaps in Tennessee's play in the last 2 weeks has affected that. But I think you're right. I think maybe having a little bit of a breather for expectations can lay it off a little bit. Maybe take the game a little bit more serious after seeing the last 2 weeks. Obviously, what was it, 2003 since we won in the swamp?
Yep, 2003. Yep, 20 years.
So I mean, no matter how good we've looked the last 2 weeks and how bad Florida's looked, going into a night game in the swamp and beating a team that you have not beaten in 20 years at home, at least, is not. I mean,
that crowd's going to be insane. That atmosphere is going to be insane. It's going to be a night game. I think there was kind of rumors that we were going to get College Game Day. They ended up going to Colorado, which, I mean, I guess ride that high. In Boulder there, but that's. I mean, there's a lot on this game. I mean, this is SEC play. This is where all those freshmen that came to Tennessee. This is what you go to Tennessee to play in. Is it these kind of atmospheres, these kind of stadiums? You want opposing fans. Like, you think that coach at Austin P is going to ruffle your feathers? Wait till you hear what Florida fans say about you when you come to the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, that's what put me in such a weird spot last year, because it's like, okay, LSU and so where did we no, Kentucky was home last year. Regardless, away game like LSU, being able to go, granted, okay, we can say it was an 11 a.m. local time game. LSU's never not going to be, a taunting environment. So, like, you see that game and you're like, okay, well, when this team's just flying, like, an opposing crowd does not take – I know he sucked a lot of energy out of that stadium, but then you look at, like South Carolina, for example, and you're like, okay, so, like, does any of that have to do with just – now, I know that was just we got maybe a little bit on our heels and just got our ass whooped, but do you think do you think any of this for Milton is like a little bit still like nerves and stuff, or if it's just because I feel like I hear about so many good like accuracy, like improvements in practice, and obviously the leadership's there. I don't think this guy's got any questions on leadership and having control of the team, but I don't know. Does it make you worry that an atmosphere like Florida at night is going to rattle him even more, or the receivers get more nervous? I don't know.
I don't know about that. Just because, you played in the Orange Bowl. What is
Exactly. That's my.
and like you said, everything we hear about practice is everything is great. So why is it not translating? That's the whole issue I have. Is it a preparation thing? Um, I don't know. Dante Thornton played 8 snaps.
Yeah.
He misses. I think Joe Milton kind of threw it behind him on a slant, and then he misses that one down the sideline that hits him right in the hands, and then we don't see him again. I mean, I didn't see him get hurt or anything, but he just kind of been a ghost. So him being a freak and all this other stuff, I don't know where that's at. It hasn't translated to the field yet either. So I don't know if are we just having him as a secret weapon when we play Florida? I don't know. But it looks like they're back to that 3-man rotation with Squirrel, Brew, and Ramel.
Yeah.
We didn't see Caleb Webb. We didn't see Chaz Nimrod last night. No one really. Sampson played 10 snaps. Hardly anything.
Yeah, it was weird.
Defense was able to rotate some. Like I mentioned, Jeremiah T-Lander got in. But you didn't play a lot of different guys in the secondary. But they continue to rotate at linebacker, continue to rotate up front. David Hobbs got some run. Tyree West. Joshua Joseph's got in the sack. So, I guess you're getting some guys playing time on defense, but offense, you weren't able to. We didn't see Nico at all.
Well, so was Nico, because he was hurt coming right before the game.
Yeah, there was a rumor that
injury, or is that real, or is that?
Yeah, so there was a rumor that he wasn't going to play, and then he was available. He dressed and everything, but did not go in.
Okay,
and maybe they were being cautious, but
yeah, I think it would have been different.
You really didn't have an opportunity to play him.
But that's my point. Is if you're up at 40 at halftime, maybe there's a shot that we were expecting to see him for a good bulk of the third quarter and actually get some some practice reps. And maybe it really was just the fact that I don't think it was I never sat there and questioned, can we lose this game? But it never felt like how a secure Austin Peay football game should feel. It was the same thing with Virginia. When we started slow in the first quarter for both games, it's but you're never sitting there oh my God. But I don't know. Maybe.
I kept waiting for it to just the water to break.
Yeah. Well, and we saw the issue with Georgia and Ohio State both past 2 weeks have kind of had slow first quarters. People are taking screenshots of them tied after the end of the first quarter, and it's is Georgia really back? And then they'll win 45-7. I was waiting for Tennessee to do that, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And looking forward to Florida, you got to start off hotter pace than that. You cannot be on your heels for the first half of the football game and play like you did last night, unless you're just doing a full change and opening the playbook to an extent that us fans just have no idea, and we're just yapping out here online, and the coaches have zero worries because they know that it's going to be a whole different game. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah. We got some comments in here. I'll read some questions off as well since we're on this topic. So Devin Arnold said Wi-Fi worked good last night, by the way. It did.
I could actually
get on Twitter. What in the world?
I was able to get score updates and stuff. I was seeing it's shout out to anyway. No one's giving enough appreciation for that. That is,
yeah. That's awesome. The one. Now I do have a complaint about, and I said this on Twitter, dude. That club section, it's empty.
Well, and your buddy on Twitter thinks that you took that before the game, which you didn't, because I was there all game and can attest that it was not more than 33% full at any moment given time during the game.
And I know there's people that sit in those seats, but the people that go there for social hour and are downstairs, go get a box.
Right.
That's what they're for. No one can tell who's in those boxes.
Right.
But there's so many people dressed as empty seats down there in that lower section. That can't happen. And I understand it's Austin Peay, blah, 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 but I know a lot of people that lost their season tickets that have had them for a long time to build that section. And now we have people that aren't even showing up. And if they are, they're downstairs eating and in that air conditioning. Hey, we get, 7 of these a year?
Yeah.
I mean, we can have social. You can tailgate all day long. I did it. But
Yeah.
then when the game's here, how about you sit in your – Kelly Harper was sitting in her seat in that section.
Damn straight.
She's not too good for it.
Maybe, and just maybe, I can excuse 2% of the people that were there, and I guess the rainstorm started, which was very short. I don't think it was that big a deal. If this would have been an hour rain delay and people were fed up and tired, whatever. But there was no significant enough of a weather delay in the beginning to leave your seat and not want to come back or turn around. There was no forecast for the next 5 hours that it was going to rain. Everybody else was in Neyland.
Yeah.
It was just that section that was empty. So if you think you're high enough that, because I'll tell you what, there's probably another 100,000 people within a 5-mile radius of the stadium that would die to be there, but they can't. So get your ass to the game.
That's the thing.
Or let in 20,000 more students and fill them in for free. I don't care.
Yeah, like if you're not going to sit there, let somebody else sit in those seats. I mean, I don't know. That picture that I took was right after we kicked a field goal in the second quarter.
Yeah. No, that was by no means in the earliness of the game.
No.
That was probably mid-game.
Yeah, we're about to kick off, and that is the site right there. I mean, and like it was 6-6 at that point. It's like, where is everybody at?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did not Photoshop it. People have claimed I Photoshopped that. I wish I was good at Photoshop, but I'm not, so I did not do that. But yeah, that was my one complaint. But also, like, great tailgate. Appreciate everybody coming out. That was awesome. We got there at a little after 9 and I guess started cleaning up around 4. So they're a good portion of the day. Again, that was our social hour. That was our club seating until the game. And then we're in our seats the entire time. I don't know why that's so hard to get in people's heads. I don't know why we can't just be in the stadium and sit in our seats that we're assigned. I don't understand. Whatever. We got some more questions here. Jake Mahaffrey says, why can't we give D. Williamson touches on the offense? He's electric with the ball in his hands. I kind of agree. I mean,
I don't hate it.
I mean, if he can catch a freaking punt, he can catch a long ball from Joe Milton. They're basically the same thing.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's probably the same trajectory. Hey, if someone like Deontay Thornton's not going to be able to do it, and you don't want to pull in someone like Chaz Nimrod, all right, cool. Put D. Williams out there. So what? He dropped 2 passes. It's not like it didn't happen last night. We didn't have awful drops. Like, you're not going to be mad at a defensive player for doing it. So is it really that different? And he's, I swear, he's like probably the slipperiest player on the team.
Yeah,
that boy quick.
I mean, if you're going to throw a screen, have him out there to catch a screen.
I wouldn't hate some. I mean, drop down bubble screens to him.
A punt returner knows how to follow blockers and see a crease and hit it. I mean, that's all a screen is.
Yeah, and not that Squirrel White and Ramel Keaton are providing the best blocking for a screen pass. It's just, unfortunately, when we're in that setup, we're not getting much weight out of that. But
I will say this, Brew McCoy, I mean, I don't know why we don't run more screens to his side because, I mean, the dude blocked on that McAllen Castle's touchdown all the way to the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, John Campbell, I know he had that one against Virginia, but having Brew McCoy literally take a guy 30 yards down the field is pretty damn impressive too.
Yeah.
But got one more question from our guy, Ethan Cundiff says, I know y'all will dive into the Florida game on Thursday, but what are your initial thoughts going into the game, especially after getting to sleep on last night's game? I don't know. I don't think Florida's very good. And if last night didn't happen, I think we go in and beat their brains in. But now this Austin Peay game has kind of put me on pause a little bit. And I just think you have a lot to fix, a lot to figure out, clean things up, penalties, third down conversions, catching the football. I mean, those are the 3 things that Joe Milton's got to be better accuracy-wise in a football game.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you have guys wide open. You got to hit them.
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot. Maybe as the week goes on, I'll be. I'm not worried. I'm not like sitting here stressing out, thinking that we just are gonna blow up necessarily. And I'm also not someone that thinks that Tennessee's just gonna walk in there and just lose right away.
Yeah, I do think Tennessee is too talented to have back-to-back games like they did it. I don't say they're going to be perfect, but I don't think they play as bad as they did on yesterday. Now,
go ahead.
Now, if you do play that way against Austin P in the Swamp, you're losing. You're getting beat.
Oh, yeah. If you run same playbook, same issues as last night, you're not. There's. It would take
you win that football game by 2 scores.
Because I'll tell you what,
you lose that football game by 2 scores.
Florida, as bad as they look right now, are infinitely better than an Austin P team. And if Austin P was able to exploit you in a lot of the positions in the game, Florida's going to absolutely tear you up. ETN's going to.
I mean, Southern Illinois put up more points than Tennessee did on Austin P.
Yeah. And that's why, again, I think it's just a fluke thing. I think there's just maybe it needed an extra week to get ironed out, and maybe the moment will bring it out of them is what I'm really hoping, because I don't want to jinx it, but I don't imagine Tennessee going into the Swamp and not putting up at least a fight. Like I couldn't imagine this team just going in and losing by 2+ touchdowns. There's just no. Now I can, because I'm a Vols fan, that I can see the season turning around to a 7-5 projection really quick. Trust me, I step on eggshells every time I even mention a record above 8-4. But I just as where we are now, trusting Heupel, trusting the coaching staff, trusting the talent that's on this team, I gotta imagine you got a different game plan and playbook against Florida next week, and it'll be a game. I hope it's not in Tennessee's favor. I hope maybe we'll blow them out, and then we can look at UTS. I mean, I guess UTSA is a whole different conversation, but South Carolina and so on moving forward.
Yeah, I'd rather have this game last night than it to happen on this coming Saturday in the Swamp. So if it was bound to happen, I'd rather it happen against Austin P, where you can at least still win the game, get out of it, and then you got a whole week to kind of fix things before you go into the Swamp. But I mean, it doesn't get any easier from here. So
it does not.
That's to Joe Milton. That's to Jackson Ross, who had another shank and then fixed it. Caleb told me last night, he was like, I don't care what anybody says, that kid's left-footed. He's not ambidextrous. He's left-footed. He just kicks a lot better that way. But you can't have those issues as well. You can't shank punts. You can't kick kickoffs out of bounds. You can't have that if you want to win close football games. And if Tennessee's not firing on all cylinders on offense, like we've seen thus far, then you can't have those mistakes on special teams either.
Yeah, I want to apologize for anybody that might know Jackson Ross personally. If you heard anything I said last night, I revoke it. I apologize. I don't. I apologize. I'm sure it's not easy. I don't love the angle in which we do punts, like the running, and like I understand that that's like the play call, but it looks so rushed and so quick that off the foot. I had a lot of USA pride last night. That's all I'll say. But you know what? He can kick a ball. We'll get it figured out. He did have it. He was working it out. We weren't seeing tight spirals, high hang times, but maybe that's the strategy. Maybe these guys are used to catching punts like that.
Yeah, and a guy muffed one. So whatever you're doing, just keep on doing that. I'm loving that. Now just go score once you get a muff punt. I mean,
right.
Can't settle for a field goal. And when you
we wouldn't
your own 20.
We wouldn't be talking about any of these small details if we would have taken care of business where we needed to last night. So I'm not too worried about it.
Is Jalen Wright the best running back in the SEC?
Probably.
Is he top 3? Can we say that?
Yeah, I would say top 3.
So that shouldn't be much of a hot take. I feel like
I don't think it is. And I think talking about the running
back man
room as a whole, we've talked about this running back room. They're one of the best in the country, if not the best. It's even the guys like Michigan that have 2 deep really good. I mean, like we've got 3 deep that are really good. It doesn't limit to 2. I mean, Dylan Sampson's plays, that receiving position just as well. I mean, Again, maybe last night wasn't the best example, but that running back room is dangerous, man. I don't know. It's been a while since I've felt that consistently good about a Tennessee running back room.
Yeah.
I don't know when it would have.
16?
Maybe. Yeah, but even, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's done well. Super excited about him. Yeah, just keep on pumping. I said he'd get 1,200, so we need to keep pumping out these 100-yard games. So keep making me look like I know ball. Let's do guys who impress real quick. We'll do 2 each.
Okay.
I'll go first. I'll go offense. I will go Jalen Wright. I thought he looked good. 9.1 yards per carry is insane when his longest rush is 31 yards. He just looks he's different. 13 carries, 118 yards. Didn't have a touchdown, but I mean he just kind of gets those touchdowns. He gets them down the field and he gives it to somebody else. I don't understand that. He needs to be rewarded. Feed your dog, or somebody else will, is what I always heard. I think that's reference to a marriage thing, but you get it. I thought Jabari Small looked good too. 13 carries, 95 yards. His average was 7.3 yards per carry, so I thought he looked good, and just kind of taking the load off Jalen Wright a little bit too.
Yeah. We're doing offense.
Yep.
I know. I feel like I didn't watch the offensive line as much as I needed to last night. I don't know if there's anybody that entirely stood out, but I'll go. I know it's like kind of a hot take, but I think McCall Castle's played the position better than I like. It like the way he looks as a tight end.
He fits
all aspects of all aspects of tight ending. That's blocking is equally as important, and I think he just filled the space watching him, and obviously the breakaway play, the 45, 43 something yard touchdown. Great play, great first touchdown. But just filling the space of a tight end, him and Warren seem to have it down pretty well. So we'll see if that translates to passing side of the ball in actual situations where he might get more targets. But
and that's the thing. Yeah, dude, McCall Castles has really impressed me. I think the first touchdown is the hardest one to get. After that, it should be we should be pumping them out every game. But Joe, I mean, you're struggling right now. A tight end could be your best friend right now. You need a check down. You need a for sure guy that's just majority of the time they're finding space and sitting down. Like they're standing still when you're throwing it to them. So that should be an easy target for him to hit some of those check downs if things aren't there and pick up some sure yardage. And hey, the long balls will come. I mean, not everybody is going to bracket Tennessee where they're going to dare Tennessee to – they don't want Tennessee to throw. Austin Peay, like we could have ran the Jalen Wright and Jabari Small and scored 67 points on them. Easy. But we wanted to get some real looks and throw the ball, and, they just kind of – it is Austin Peay, so you should have been able to complete some of those balls. But, they're playing 6 in the backfield. They're playing 5 in the box. And if people want to do that in the SEC, Tennessee's more than happy to take what they give them. If you want to give a guy who's right at 10 yards per carry, just 5 guys in the box, I mean, how do you lose?
Can't disagree.
So, yeah, we'll see how it is. I'm excited about Florida. I don't care. Again, I hit my head last night. I have no recollection of what happened. I'm getting this box score off my computer. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yep, Tennessee's 2-0. We're good.
Yeah, give me one more guy that impressed you before we move
on. Defense.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Aaron Beasley, so I mean, again, that's doing well. But Wesley Walker, I feel like, has 2 games in a row now. 6 total tackles last night, which puts him at 10 for the year. Tackle for a loss, a sack. Just impressed in a sense of, better than I was expecting. I didn't know that, just coming from the DB position as a whole, I think he's played consistently more in the past 2 games than I was really penciling him into. before the season. So
Yeah, that I mean, I keep going back to last season. Wesley Walker was your best safety last year, and didn't really see the playing time he probably should have gotten. And now he's showing out. So I think he's more than filled in for the loss of Trayvon Flowers, and looks good when he comes up and runs support, and has not given up really anything that I've seen in the passing game either. So yeah. Let's get to college football. Let's talk about any games. Alabama lost.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's the one you can't go without talking about. I just hate both those teams, and it's like
Is Texas back?
They might be right this time. I don't know. They looked good. It was like to be able to go into Tuscaloosa and like put on a performance that against a Bama team that like, yeah, we can talk about like, oh, is the dynasty over and stuff, and Nick Saban basically having an entire new staff, but is it? I mean, that was an impressive showing. I don't think it was any lack of Bama's ability as it was Texas just played really good football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Alabama's DB is not a great day at the office. Pretty horrible, and I just don't think Jalen Milroe is it. I don't think they have a answer at quarterback right now, and that's unlike Alabama the past 10 years, where they've kind of gotten 5 stars and stat classes where they had somebody ready if somebody wasn't able to go or somebody moved on, went to the next level, whatever. They had somebody waiting in line. Well, after Bryce Young left, they're like, oh, crap. Like, Jalen Milroe ain't it. Ty Simpson ain't it. Let's bring in this kid from Notre Dame and let's piss everybody off. And he's not good either. So they don't have an answer at quarterback. Jalen Milroe can run. But
yeah, he can escape a pocket. That's about
throwing wise. Yikes.
I think Milroe might be a little too quick to escape the pocket. I think the moment he even has a chance to. I mean, he sees one gap and he's gone.
Yeah.
Which is, you're right, that's new for Bama. When was the last time Bama hasn't had a surefire quarterback, at least option, going into the season and had this much consideration into a quarterback race? So, we'll see. It's Nick Saban. I haven't looked forward to their schedule. How many, realistically, now seeing how they played against Texas, how many more games could they lose? They got to play Ole Miss. It's at Alabama, luckily.
LSU.
Okay. Us, just saying.
Tennessee.
It's all of a sudden Alabama's schedule. If they take care of business last night, what do they move back? They're moving back to 10 now. They're one behind us in AP.
They're one in front of us.
One in front of us. They're 10.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you want to. I personally am like, I don't know. I honestly just don't care about the AP enough to like.
Yeah, they lost to a ranked team. You're not going to drop them back too much. It's just hilarious that it's right in front of Tennessee.
It is funny, but if they would have dropped to like 12 or something, that would have blown my mind. Because to go from 3 to 12, you would have to lose to, it had to be Clemson level loss pretty much for Bama. Because I feel like even if they did a Clemson loss, Bama still gets a pass usually, which we know they have. That's not been anything different. So, all of a sudden, Bama's got 4 possible losses on their schedule. It's. I don't think that's how it's going to play out, but I think Bama fans are going to start looking at the schedule a little differently.
Ohio State. 35-7 against Youngstown State, not impressive either. I know our game was less impressive, but it was 28-7 at halftime. They scored 1 touchdown in the second half.
Yeah.
So I guess it can happen to other teams, not just Tennessee. I was trying to think of some other one. Notre Dame, are they good?
I don't know. I think they're efficient. I just don't know. I don't know if it's. I mean, I don't know if there's really been a test, right? Notre Dame, Ohio State will be a good gauge because I mean, obviously the Navy game for Notre Dame, like, I mean, come on. And then NC State's a good team, but it's I just don't. I wasn't blown away. I don't know. I think fundamentally they're a really good team, but I just don't. I don't know how good yet.
Yeah.
And obviously they have to play Duke after OSU, and I don't know if Duke's even like I don't know. I don't know if Clemson's just that bad that Duke looked that good, or if Duke genuinely is that good. I think they have some really good athletes on their team, but
Clemson, it was 24-17 at halftime with Charleston Southern. Again, it can happen.
Yeah, this isn't like a new thing. It's not like, I mean, no one's not talking about Georgia after they've started a couple quarters slow, or even OSU, which started slow in the first quarter, and it was 7-7, I think, for a little bit, and then they finally edged at the end of the first quarter at 14-7. And then you're thinking, okay, once they get it at the halftime score, but you're right, it was 28, and then they only scored one touchdown in the entire second half. And I know maybe it was a little bit letting the gas off the brakes. And it's weird because you look at the stat line, and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyle McCord, and I forget the running back, like great stats and good game. And it's just like but no one's sitting here freaking out about, OSU's playoff chances. So I don't think I think Tennessee maybe just maybe we're lucky. Maybe maybe people just hate us and they want to think that, we'll let Joe Milton talk next week.
Yeah. Colorado gets another win. Vegas hates Colorado because they've lost so much money off Colorado.
And I get why. I mean, see, it's one of those things where I think Matt Rule is not good, and I think Nebraska is not good, and that's not new. I know they had maybe higher expectations coming in the season, and by way higher, I mean like by Nebraska standards. But man, Dion just don't let off the. They got something cooking there, and it's just the style. Like it's just there's so much hype built around it, but Vegas is so broke off of Colorado, it's insane.
Yeah, now Nebraska's horrible, so they shouldn't have went with.
It was a slow.
The -3 line was a trap.
It was, and it was a slow first half. I thought it was never safe, and then the second half they kind of busted it open.
Yeah, then Jeff Sims became real Jeff Sims, and you saw exactly what Nebraska is. So,
yeah.
What did Travis Hunter do?
I don't think he had as great of a game.
He had 3 catches, 73 yards, and 4 tackles. Okay, so I mean, not bad. I don't know if he's up for Heisman with that performance, but whatever.
Yeah, the only thing that he keeps him in is playing both sides of the ball. I don't think it's going to be, Texas A&M.
Yeah, Bobby Petrino, great hire, but you obviously need a defense to go with the offense that you want to run too. You moron.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a stupid lock I had for Texas A&M. That's what I get. I should never trust Jimbo Fisher.
God, Van Dyke had 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
374 yards. Hey,
I feel like he's been there forever.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if I trusted Mario Cristobal that much going into the season, but they keep doing things that are maybe making me shut up. So we'll wait. We'll wait and see.
Yeah. I do love that North Carolina and Appalachian State have become like the best rivalry in the last 2 years.
App State
it was a super close game last year, and then this year it goes into overtime again.
Well, App State plus 19.5 felt like such a trap. I was like, dude, App State has to keep this a close game. I just don't think UNC. I don't think the hype on them is real.
Yeah.
And so I should have taken it with it. Obviously, UNC gets the win, but it's like, congrats, you took it to double overtime against, an App State team that probably really got up for this game. I mean, that's just college football. It's maybe not as you can't look out at the outplay of UNC season. I think App State just gets excited. If that game's in Boone, I don't think North Carolina walks out there with the win. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, I like that.
Those fans, those students wanted to fill the streets again.
Yeah, I I love college football so much. It's so much fun.
Oh my god, so much.
Even like Austin beat Tennessee, I still love college football. Let's get into our locks real quick. Just kind of go over them, and we'll say what we have. I don't really have what Caleb had, but I had A&M -4. I had Colorado -3. Crushed it. I had Ole Miss Tulane over 66. That was dumb of me. I just hate doing over-unders, but Caleb wanted to do over-and-unders for this competition, so here we go. And then I did USC Stanford under 69.5. It ended at 66, so cha-ching.
I had started the week off with Kansas -3.
Mm-hmm.
They took care of business.
Jalen Daniels back.
I like picking those early games. I feel like those early week games give me a little bit of a boost going into the weekend.
Okay.
My dumbass. I went for the lowest line, and I know that Iowa and Iowa State. Like honestly, they could put an Iowa game at 21 points, and I think I'm going to have to start taking the under still.
What was the score?
It ended up total 33, maybe 32 or 33. I missed it by a couple points, but 36.5 points, and I somehow thought that the over was going to hit, and I need to know Iowa better. So that's 1-1.
It happens.
Notre Dame, NC State over. That did hit. NC State. I did think Notre Dame with their offense was going to score. It was just a matter of if NC State at home was going to make it competitive. They did. 2-1, and then the heartbreaker of the night, Utah. I caught them at 7.5. Some people got them at 7 and pushed, but they won only by 7. So half a point, which also kept me from losing $100 in a parlay. So Utah's on my shit list right now. So 2-2, which puts me at 3-5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 4-4 right now.
So I am in last. I don't know where Caleb's at, but if we're not tied, I'm pretty sure at worst he's 4-4. I'm probably still in last.
I've got it pulled up, and I'm going according to his. Landon, it says that you're 3-5.
Oh, welcome
What?
to the pit. Team DFL, baby.
What did he have?
He said he had you A&M -4, Ole Miss Tulane over,
Yeah.
USC Stanford, I guess, over.
I had it under.
Oh, okay. It doesn't. It's just red, so maybe that's what's wrong then.
Okay.
I'll fix it.
We'll need to review it. I'm gonna need to go back and listen. One game could be a difference. I'm not trying to wear this full pad. And
I'll send my bet slip.
No, I got you.
Yeah, me and Joey were on the same page for a couple games. We both had a good read on Notre Dame and Utah. I thankfully got them at 6.5, but again, I did book it last Saturday, so
Okay.
I think it paid off well for me. So that put me at 2-0 to start, and then obviously, like you said, Colorado pulled through in a big way at home.
Yep.
And that left me with just FSU to hit the over, and I'm pretty sure they hit it themselves. If not, they're like just a few points off. So
you're
We're
8-0.
8-0.
How much money have you won?
I won like 300 this weekend. I didn't bet.
Damn!
This guy's printing cash.
What the hell?
Hey, I give you the locks. You just got to play them.
Yeah,
No,
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna
That's
keep picking my own plays, but I'm gonna start tailing Dylan just on my own account.
If it gets like late in the season, I just need to win. I'm just gonna copy whatever he
Dylan.
says.
No, Dylan, you do all your 4 picks in advance. I just want to hear them just in case.
All right. Well, most important.
You'll have to
Anybody
go
got it?
first.
Okay. I have the guy in the Oklahoma game catches a quarterback, throws it away. He catches it, and he acts like he pops the cap and just turns it up. Just the ultimate dad move, but electric.
Was fire. Oh, NFL football's back.
It is back.
The first 2 weeks were weird because usually I can go watch a football game on Saturday and do Saturday things, and then Sunday be able to sit on my couch and not feel bad about not moving and just consuming food. And today finally felt like I was allowed to do that without feeling guilty. Also kind of a fail was the football was not that great today. I feel like maybe I'm just been watching some great college thrillers, but
it was pretty
fantasy-
underwhelming.
it was a little underwhelming. I
feel like the best game was like Dolphins Chargers.
Yeah,
definitely.
well, Colton Jags is up there, and that's
too.
sad.
Oh, yeah, Colton Jags pretty good.
Yeah, Saints and Titans was a brutal watch.
It was lost. Yeah, brutal call on that fumble there.
Yeah,
the Cowboys are up 19-0 on the Giants right now. So,
the Giants look really bad.
They do.
I'm not sure about this parlay, Dylan.
Yeah, like I said, NCAA, not NFL.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start tailing your NCAA.
So they've had a interception return and a block kick return.
Yeah, pick six and a block field goal return for a touchdown.
So if you got Cowboys defense on fantasy, you are swimming.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, they just got a pick too. I don't know if that's second pick of the game, second.
CeeDee Lamb just about caught a touchdown.
God.
We need Tony Pollard to get it, don't we? Well, actually, I got CeeDee Lamb on my team. So.
Right. That's what we're saying. My most important is a short work week since we're going to Florida.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Hopefully get a dub. I'm banking on it. I think we do. But yeah, short work week's always nice.
Hell yeah.
Joe?
I don't know if I have any more. I thought I had one saved, and I might have not taken a screenshot. Okay. I always do that. I always have it, and I'll see it and be like, "That's the most important." And then I'll forget to take a screenshot, and to assume my brain's gonna remember that 5 hours later is crazy. We're back in Neyland. We'll just say it's football time in Tennessee.
Okay.
People that weren't in the sweet seats, pick one and suck it. But everybody else, good job showing out and sticking through the torrential downpour, tornadoes, and
the weather felt great.
It was good football weather. Now it was hot when I did the 8-mile trek up to your guys' tailgate. Your boy was chafing a little bit. But yeah, once we got in the stadium, that some of that wind came in, the sun went away. It was very good.
Always after tailgate and after game shower after is all time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing better than just sweating all day and then taking a shower after.
Nice and refreshing.
Yeah.
It's a power move.
Are y'all morning or night showers?
Morning.
Y'all are gross.
No, it's not. That's not gross. It's gross that you shower and then sleep in it and then wake up and do your day without, because then you just slept for 8 hours.
Yeah.
After showering, and I know you ain't washing your sheets once a week to keep up with it.
You literally go the whole day and then you sleep and then you wake up and shower. That makes no sense. You go to
I do get
disgusting.
That. Yeah, fuck. I like to take 2 showers. Sometimes, if I'm actually dirty from the day, I've been running around sweating or something, if I'm just going to classes or if I'm just not going crazy that day, shower in the morning. But yeah, no, if I got a busy day, a Saturday or something, I'm gonna shower at night before bed, and then again in the morning. But if I got something to do the next day, I got a shower to wake me up. That's just my thing.
I agree with that. It helps wake me up, to be honest.
If I don't shower before I go somewhere, I don't drink coffee, so that's my coffee. My shower is my wake up.
Okay, I get that. I don't drink coffee either, but people are like, "How do you do it?" And I'm like, I just never got hooked on it, so I don't.
Yeah, it's super easy for me.
I don't think I'm hooked on it. I just like the taste.
That's fair.
Okay.
I just don't do caffeine, so it's it's again, I don't need it, so it's I don't drink it because I know if I get into it, then I'll get an addiction, and I don't need it. So
yeah. All right, fails of the week. I got one. I'll go ahead and read it while y'all are looking. The NCAA playing God. Well, I mean, why did they? Tez Walker, he transferred from James Madison, maybe. Anyway, was going to be probably their most dynamic receiver, and is not eligible for the 2023 season because he didn't get a waiver from the NCAA.
It's just dumb. It's we're looking at the dumbest.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, just let the kid play.
Let the kid
Like, who
play.
cares? It's not like it might be a competitive advantage, but it's not going to be the difference in North Carolina being a playoff team or not.
Yeah. Like signing papers, really. Like, and it's not like it's just a dumb little,
It's whoever has the most money, who's willing to fork up the money for an expensive lawyer to go at the NCAA is all it boils down to. Everything's money. It's so stupid.
Yeah, we'll just dissolve the NCAA at some point. But until then, I think we just have to
Suck it up.
Yep.
All right. I had one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure y'all saw it. I don't know how good your view of it was, but the Austin P lineman that tripped the quarterback, he had fell at some point, and quarterback started to scramble and may have gotten maybe 5-yard gain, but lineman tripped him up and he went down behind.
Oh yeah. I did see that. Yeah, and then there was a lineman. Ooh, was it on the? Maybe it was. I'm trying to think. Maybe it was third quarter, and they were going this way, which means it should have been offense. He did a front flip twice. He laid out after a play and did an extra tumble flip, and it was so unnecessary. And I need to go back and watch it, but he did it twice. It might have been two different guys, but flopped the shit out of it and did not need to it's. I mean, you're a lineman in football. We don't need to do tumbles, but
yeah,
it's weird that it happened twice. Mine is Michigan State coach Mel Tucker. That's a big fail. That's just a tad of a no-no.
Is it 18 million that he's probably going to get
taken or
for having phone sex?
I think that's all it was. I don't want to miss speak on it and be missing big things, but my take on it from what I read on ESPN for 6 minutes was basically he just got a little too horny on the phone. And I'm not downplaying it. There might be other stuff, and if I'm not knowledgeable, he's an awful person anyway. I'll just go ahead and say that so I can cover my basis. But it just bonk him. He just got a little horny on the phone. Not cool. Yeah. Not cool, Mel Tucker. Not cool.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's all I got.
Awesome. Guys, thanks for listening. We'll be back probably Wednesday night because we're heading to Gainesville on Thursday morning. But we'll get you those details later on in the week. Feel free to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Check this out. We'll have it up in the morning, so please go listen to that. And thanks again. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.